Think back to when you first started learning something new. Maybe it was a skill, a subject, or even a craft. Did you feel overwhelmed by the complexity of it all? Did you rush forward, eager to get ahead, convinced that the faster you moved, the better? Now let me ask you, how well did that work out for you? What if the key to true success isn't rushing to the next level, but instead mastering the basics first? What if the secret to unlocking your full potential lies in focusing on what others often overlook? The fundamentals. Today I want to share with you a powerful truth. Don't be lazy in learning. Focus on mastering the basics before moving forward. It's not just a strategy, it's the foundation of lasting success. The power of mastering the basics. In the pursuit of success, we often find ourselves searching for the latest, most innovative methods, looking for shortcuts, hacks, or magical solutions to our challenges. But in all my years of experience, I've learned something simple yet profound. Success doesn't lie in the complex, it lies in the basics. The basics are the foundation of everything. They are the roots of the tree. Without them, nothing else can grow. I remember when I first started my journey. I wanted to go fast, to leap ahead, to take giant steps forward. But the truth was, I had skipped over some key fundamentals that, in hindsight, I realized were essential to my long-term success. It was only when I returned to the basics that things truly began to shift. I started to focus on mastering the core skills, those basic habits, routines, and principles that seem so simple but are often overlooked. Time management, focus, and planning. These are the cornerstones of success, and they are far from small. In fact, they are what carry you through the storm and help you build something strong and sustainable. When we talk about mastering the basics, what we're really talking about is learning to do the simple things well. It's not about moving to the next level as quickly as possible. It's about doing the little things consistently, day in and day out. Success is not about jumping ahead. It's about starting with a solid foundation and then building steadily. Let me paint a picture for you. Think of a tree, a mighty oak or a tall pine. Its beauty is undeniable, but it's the roots that allow it to stand firm in storms. If the roots aren't strong, that tree will topple. The same principle applies to your goals. The deeper your roots in the basics, the stronger you'll be when life gets tough. At times, we may feel tempted to skip ahead. We think, I already know enough about time management, or I don't need to review my goals every day, I've got this. But that's where the danger lies. Skipping the basics is like building a house on sand. It might look fine for a while, but over time, the foundation will crack, and everything you've built will collapse. I see it all the time, people rushing to implement the latest strategy or technique, only to find themselves struggling. They might have the fancy tools, the advanced knowledge, but without the basic skills, those tools are useless. It's like buying a powerful car but not knowing how to drive it properly. That's why mastering the basics is so critical. These fundamental principles are not just steps on the way to something else. They are the foundation upon which your entire life is built. Time management isn't just a strategy to get more done. It's a skill that keeps you focused, sharp, and aligned with your goals. Discipline isn't just about doing hard things. It's about sticking to the things that matter, even when you don't feel like it. Planning isn't just a to-do list. It's a roadmap for success. The basics are the heartbeat of success. They are what guide you through the maze of distractions, temptations, and setbacks. When you focus on mastering them, everything else falls into place. You can make progress, and when challenges arise, you'll have the strength and clarity to overcome them. But here's the catch. Mastering the basics doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, effort, and commitment. Every day you must return to the fundamentals, refine them, and make them a part of your routine. And with each day, you'll grow stronger, more focused, and more capable. Remember, success is predictable. It's not about luck, and it's not about finding the next big thing. It's about building on the fundamentals, slowly, steadily, and consistently. The moment you begin to master the basics, you'll see that everything else becomes easier. You'll move through life with more confidence, more clarity, and more purpose. The great achievers of the world, the ones who have sustained their success over decades, didn't get there by skipping steps or looking for shortcuts. They got there by mastering the basics, day after day. They didn't overlook the small things. They focused on doing the basics well and let everything else follow. In your own life, if you want to reach the next level, if you want to create lasting success, it's time to revisit the basics. Stop looking for shortcuts and start focusing on the fundamentals. Master them, own them, and watch. how they transform your results. If you commit to this approach, I promise you, the journey ahead will be much smoother and you will experience success that lasts. It's the power of mastering the basics that will carry you through life's challenges, keep you grounded, and elevate you to new heights. So, what basics are you overlooking in your life today? Which one small thing can you begin mastering right now? Start there, and everything else will follow. In the next section, we'll explore the secret to the danger of skipping the fundamentals. Now, let's talk about something that most people overlook. Yet it's one of the most dangerous traps you can fall into on your journey to success. Skipping the fundamentals. It's tempting, isn't it? We live in a world that constantly pushes us to go faster, do more, and achieve everything yesterday. In this world, skipping steps is not just common, it's often encouraged. You see it all over the place. Here's a shortcut to success, or this is the secret you've been waiting for. But in reality, there are no shortcuts. There's only one way to build something truly lasting: by mastering the basics. Let me tell you, the fundamentals are not just an option, they are essential. Without them, you are building your success on shaky ground. Think of it like this: when you skip the basics, you're running before you've learned how to walk. You're setting yourself up for failure without even realizing it. Imagine building a house. You wouldn't begin construction without first pouring a solid foundation. You wouldn't jump straight to putting up the walls or installing the roof. Yet, this is exactly what many people do when they skip the basics. They focus on the fancy parts of success, the visible achievements and the quick wins, while neglecting the invisible but crucial elements that keep everything intact. Without the basics, the walls will crumble, the roof will collapse, and all the hard work you've put in will come to nothing. This danger is everywhere. You see it in business, in education, in personal development. People rush to implement the latest strategies, the newest technologies, or the most complex techniques, thinking they will somehow make a difference. They want the results without putting in the effort to build the necessary foundation first. But here's the hard truth. If you don't master the fundamentals, you're essentially setting yourself up for failure in the long run. It might look good in the short term, but when things get tough, when you face obstacles you can't avoid, you'll find yourself unprepared. You'll realize that you've been skipping the one thing that matters most. I once worked with a man who was determined to launch his business. He had a brilliant idea and a lot of enthusiasm. But instead of focusing on the essential basics of entrepreneurship, things like market research, understanding his customer, and creating a solid business plan, he dove straight into flashy marketing campaigns and the latest social media trends. He thought that if he could just attract attention, success would follow, but it didn't. His business struggled, and in the end, he had to shut it down. The problem wasn't his idea, it was his failure to focus on the fundamentals. He skipped the basics, and the whole structure fell apart. This is a pattern I see often: people chasing after the next big thing without mastering the basics. It's easy to get distracted by the shiny object syndrome, the temptation to move on to the latest and greatest idea, strategy, or technique before you've truly grasped what's already in front of you. And this distraction, over time, leads to a lack of depth. When you don't take the time to focus on mastering the fundamentals, you miss the chance to build lasting success. Here's the thing: the basics are not boring. They are not something to brush aside or get over with. The basics are the backbone of every achievement. Every successful person, company, or idea you admire is built on a strong foundation of simple principles, consistently executed. Take the time to master them, and the advanced strategies will become much easier to implement. Think about a great athlete. Before they can perform complex moves, they must first master the fundamentals of their sport. Whether it's shooting a basketball, hitting a tennis ball, or swimming in a straight line. The top athletes don't just get to the fun stuff, they spend hours and hours honing their skills at the most basic level, and that's what makes them great. The same principle applies to success in any field. When you fail to focus on the basics, you risk building a house of cards. The weight of your ambitions will come crashing down around you, and you'll be left wondering why things didn't work out as you'd hoped. It's not the advanced strategies or flashy techniques that make you successful, it's your ability to do the basics well. Think back to your own life. Have you ever skipped the fundamentals in an effort to move forward faster? Have you ever tried to take shortcuts? Maybe you've rushed into a new project without fully understanding the skills required to make it work. Perhaps you've skipped over learning the necessary tools because they seemed boring or simple. But in reality, those are the things that will ensure you succeed in the long run. Now, I don't want you to think that mastering the basics is a one-time effort. It's a lifelong journey. The fundamentals are not something you can learn once and forget about. They are ongoing practices that need to be refined, improved, and committed to day after day. Success isn't about moving on to something new, it's about revisiting and refining the basics over time. In the next section, we'll explore the secret to building a foundation that lasts, the very thing that ensures you don't fall into the trap of skipping the fundamentals. So take a moment to reflect. Are you building on a solid foundation, or are you rushing ahead without the essential skills? It's time to return to the basics, and stay there until you've mastered them. In the next section, we'll explore the secret to building a foundation that lasts. Now that we've explored the importance of mastering the basics and the dangers of skipping them, let's dive into what it takes to build a strong foundation for success. This is where the real work begins. Building a strong foundation is not glamorous. It's not about flashy achievements or instant recognition. It's about doing the right things consistently, day after day, until they become second nature. It's about taking the time to build something that will withstand the tests of time, pressure, and challenge. Just like a skyscraper, your success needs a deep, solid foundation before you can build anything substantial on top of it. Without this foundation, everything you try to build will be unstable. It's the small, everyday actions that form this foundation. It's what you do when no one is watching, when there's no applause or accolades. These actions are what define your success in the long run. Let me give you an analogy. Think of a tree. Its branches may reach for the sky, but it is the roots beneath the ground that give it strength. If the roots are shallow, the tree will fall in a storm. But if the roots are deep and strong, the tree will endure no matter how fierce the wind. Similarly, if your foundation is solid, you'll be able to weather the storms of life and achieve lasting success. Building this foundation requires three key elements: consistency, discipline, and patience. Let's start with consistency. Success is not about doing something great once in a while. It's about doing something great every single day, no matter how small it seems. Think about it. If you want to get in shape, you don't just go to the gym once and expect to see results. You go every day, and over time, your muscles grow stronger. The same principle applies to your success. Every day, you must commit to taking the right actions, even if they seem insignificant at first. These small actions compound over time, creating momentum and building a solid foundation. Discipline is another critical aspect of building a strong foundation. Discipline is the ability to do what you need to do, whether you feel like it or not. It's about showing up even on the days when you're tired, discouraged, or distracted. Think about the habits that are required to build a strong foundation. Getting up early, setting clear goals, planning your day, sticking to your routines, and maintaining focus. It's not always easy, and sometimes it feels like a struggle, but discipline is what keeps you on track. Patience is the final key to building a strong foundation. We live in an age of instant gratification where we want results now. But true success takes time. It takes years of hard work, learning and improving. The foundation you're building today will not show results overnight, but over time it will pay off. You must trust the process and be patient. You must understand that success doesn't happen in a single moment. It happens over the long run through consistent effort and deliberate action. Building this strong foundation requires time and effort, but it also requires a mindset shift. Many people look for shortcuts that promise fast success without the work. They see others who seem to have it all and they want the same. But here's the truth. Those people didn't get there by cutting corners. They got there by committing to the fundamentals and building a solid foundation that would carry them through the challenges ahead. Think about someone who's achieved great success, whether it's in business, athletics, or personal development. What do they all have in common? They didn't take shortcuts. They took the time to build their foundation step by step, brick by brick. They didn't rush through the basics. They mastered them, repeated them, and made them a part of their daily life. You can do the same. Take the time to master the basics. Focus on your habits, your discipline, and your consistency. Every day, take one small step toward building that foundation. Every day, get a little bit better. Over time, you will see how the small, consistent efforts you put in add up to something significant. But don't expect things to happen overnight. The key is to stay focused and be patient. You are laying the groundwork for something far bigger than you can see right now. But the more you focus on the fundamentals, the stronger your foundation will be, and the greater your success will be in the future. There's no rush. It's not about moving fast. It's about moving steadily, with purpose, and building something that will last. A strong foundation takes time, but it will serve you well throughout your journey. Focus on the basics, build your foundation, and trust that the results will come in time. So, take a moment to reflect. What steps can you take today to start building a stronger foundation for your success? It doesn't have to be big, but it must be consistent. Start with the basics, master them, and let them carry you to new heights. In the next section, we'll explore the secret to leveraging the fundamentals for long-term growth. Now that we've discussed the importance of building a solid foundation and the dangers of skipping the basics, let's dive deeper into something that is absolutely crucial to your success: consistency in learning. The truth is, success is rarely achieved by those who only make a quick burst of effort. It's not about the one-time big push. It's about the small, daily steps you take toward improving yourself. Consistency, more than anything else, is the key to mastery. It's the difference between those who succeed and those who fail. Let me tell you a story. There's a man I know, let's call him Steve. Steve was always driven, always ambitious, and he was always chasing after the next big thing. But there was one thing that Steve struggled with: consistency. He would dive headfirst into new projects, take massive action for a few days, but then burn out and give up. His efforts were sporadic, and as a result, his progress was uneven. One day, after seeing Steve go through this cycle yet again, I sat him down and shared with him something that would change the way he viewed success. I told him that the key to long-term achievement was not intensity, but consistency. You see, it's easy to go all in for a short period of time. It's much harder to sustain that effort over a long period. But it's in that sustained, consistent effort that mastery is found. Here's the secret. Success is not about massive leaps, but about small, consistent improvements. When you show up every day and commit to learning just a little bit more, you make progress. Over time, those small steps add up to significant growth. But the key is consistency. Think about it like this. Imagine you're planting a tree. Each time you water it, it doesn't grow dramatically, but you're nourishing it, giving it what it needs to grow. Over time, the tree will begin to flourish and reach greater heights. Your success works in much the same way. Every small effort you make to improve yourself is like watering that tree. At first, you might not see significant changes, but over time, the cumulative effect of your daily efforts will show up in ways that are impossible to ignore. Consistency turns knowledge into wisdom. You see, learning something once or twice is not enough. Real mastery comes from practicing those principles every day. It's about making learning a part of your lifestyle. Just like you don't exercise for one day and expect to have the body of your dreams, you can't learn something once and expect to become an expert. Mastery requires repetition, review, and refinement. Every day you must revisit the basics, reflect on what you've learned, and build upon that knowledge. It's easy to get excited about a new concept or a new skill. We all want that aha moment, that rush of excitement that comes with discovering something new. But here's the truth. The excitement fades. What remains is the work, the discipline, and the consistency that allows you to internalize that knowledge and make it your own. It's only through consistent effort that we move from knowledge to skill and eventually to expertise. Think about the great masters in any field. Whether it's business, sports, or music, the one thing they all have in common is consistency. They don't rest on their laurels. Even after they've reached the top of their game, they continue to show up every single day to improve their craft. They practice, they refine, and they push themselves to go further. They don't just learn once, they commit to the process of constant growth and development. This commitment to consistency is what separates the successful from the unsuccessful. It's easy to get discouraged when you don't see immediate results, but success, true success, is built on consistent effort over time. If you want to master anything, whether it's a skill, a craft, or even personal development, you have to commit to showing up every day, even when it's hard. I remember a time when I decided to improve my public speaking. At first I was terrible. I'd stumble over my words, forget my points, and feel completely awkward. But I didn't stop. I kept showing up, practicing, and learning. Each day I got a little bit better. I read books on the subject, took notes from great speakers, and practiced in front of a mirror. Over time, that consistency paid off. I became a much more effective communicator and my confidence grew. But it didn't happen overnight. It took consistent effort. The same principle applies to your success. Mastery requires that you make learning and growth a daily commitment. It's about doing something, no matter how small, every single day to move closer to your goals. It's about having the discipline to show up, the patience to continue, and the determination to improve. So ask yourself, what can you commit to learning consistently? Is there a skill, a habit, or an area of knowledge that you can make a part of your daily life? If you want to succeed, the key is consistency. Show up every day, improve a little bit every day, and over time you'll find yourself reaching new heights you once thought were impossible. Now that we've explored the power of mastering the basics, the danger of skipping them, and the incredible value of consistency in learning, it's time to reflect on the big picture. The road to mastery is a journey. It's a path that requires persistence, dedication, and an unwavering commitment to growth. Mastery is not an endpoint, it's a process. It's not a destination that you simply arrive at, check off, and move on from. Mastery is something that evolves over time, like a sculpture being carved from marble, one chip at a time. Every action you take, every lesson you learn, every mistake you make brings you one step closer to your full potential. The journey to mastery can sometimes feel like an uphill battle. There will be days when the progress seems slow, when the obstacles seem insurmountable, and when you wonder if it's even worth it. You might look at someone who's ahead of you, and it might feel like they've somehow figured out the secret while you're still struggling. But here's the truth. They didn't get there by avoiding the journey. They embraced it. Mastery requires commitment to the long haul. You see, we live in an age of instant gratification where people want quick results. We want to see immediate outcomes and overnight success. But mastery doesn't happen overnight. It's a process that takes years of practice, refinement, and relentless effort. There is no shortcut. I'll tell you something that might surprise you. The most successful people you know don't consider themselves masters. They see themselves as perpetual students. They know that no matter how much they've learned, there is always more to discover, more to refine, more to master. And that is what keeps them going. They understand that the road to mastery is never finished. Think about the greats in any field: athletes, musicians, entrepreneurs, leaders. They all share one thing in common. They never stop learning. The journey to mastery is something that drives them forward every single day. And that's the attitude you need to adopt as well. Mastery is not about perfection, it's about progress. I remember when I first started on my own journey of personal development, there were moments when I felt overwhelmed, when the progress felt so slow that I almost gave up. But I kept going, one small step at a time. And what I learned over time is that the journey itself was as important as the destination. Every challenge, every failure, and every setback taught me something valuable. Every day I showed up, I became a little bit better than I was the day before. This is what makes the journey to mastery so powerful. It's about becoming better every day. It's not about reaching an unattainable perfection. It's about growth, learning, and becoming the best version of yourself, bit by bit over time. And that's why consistency is key. Without consistency, you'll never experience the journey for what it truly is. You might be tempted to skip steps, look for shortcuts, or give up when the going gets tough. But remember, success and mastery are built on small, consistent actions repeated over time. Every effort counts, even when it seems insignificant. Every day you invest in learning and growth brings you closer to your goals. Let's take a moment to reflect on something important. Are you willing to embrace the journey? Are you willing to commit to the process, even when the results aren't immediate? The road to mastery is full of challenges, but it's also full of opportunities for growth and discovery. Each day that you dedicate yourself to learning, each effort you make to improve, will bring you closer to the person you're meant to become. The road to mastery is not a straight line. It's full of twists, turns, detours, and obstacles. But if you stay committed to the basics, if you remain consistent, and if you keep moving forward, you will look back one day and realize how far you've come. The journey will be your greatest teacher. As you continue on this path, remember this: mastery is not about perfection, it's about progress. Don't get discouraged by setbacks or slow progress. Instead, celebrate each small step forward, each lesson learned, each basic principle mastered, because these small steps taken over time will lead to the extraordinary. So ask yourself today, what journey are you on? What small steps can you take right now to commit to mastering the basics? The road to mastery is long, but it's a road that leads to an incredible destination, the person you were always meant to become. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want to leave you with a powerful thought. Mastery is a commitment to yourself, to your growth, and to your future. It's about understanding that no matter where you start, the only way to move forward is through consistent, dedicated effort. The basics are the building blocks, the foundation upon which your success will stand. So as you move forward from here, ask yourself, am I committed to mastering the basics? Am I ready to take consistent action every single day, no matter how small, to build the future I want? Success doesn't come overnight, and the road to mastery is a long one. But if you stay the course, if you embrace each step of the journey, you'll look back one day and realize just how far you've come. I believe in you. I know that you have what it takes to master whatever you set your mind to. So take that first step today. Focus on the basics, be consistent, and most importantly, trust the process. Thank you for watching. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving for mastery. You're on the right path. Keep moving forward.